there, this is Dennis Anyone with Dennis Hensley. It's a podcast about making things up and making things happen. I think art and creativity make the world go around, make the tough times bearable, and I love people that are doing that. I love to talk to them about it. So today my guest is Maria Friedman. She is a theater director and also the director of the live filmed version of the musical Merrily We Roll Along, which is hitting theaters nationwide on December 5th. I love a pro shot musical, you know, where they do a really good job of shooting it. And this one is excellent. I'd been wanting to see this show ever since I saw that it was announced. I'm a fan of this particular Sondheim musical. I love the songs. I love the themes of friendship and ambition and creativity. It ticked all my boxes. And I never made it to New York when it was running, so I was thrilled to see that they did a really good filmed version. And Maria directed both the stage version and the film version. So it was fun to talk to her about how she approached both of those projects. And I had a very emotional reaction to the pro shot when I first saw it in a screening room when I saw it. So I talk about what I was reacting to, like, and those themes and seeing if that's where, you know, she was coming from with it. And I just loved this conversation with her. I loved it. So it's not super long. It's short and sweet, but I loved talking to her, and I'm so glad it happened. Before we get to the interview, though, I want to remind you that this podcast, Dennis Anyone, is brought to you by me, pretty much. You'll occasionally hear some ads in there, but I don't get that much for them. If you want to support the podcast and what I do, there's a few things you can do. You can go to DennisAnyone.net and leave a tip in my virtual tip jar. Help me cover my expenses, and I always appreciate that. I also have a Substack and a Patreon. It's called Happy and Gay, Dennis Hensley's Happy and Gay. It's like a spin-off of this podcast, but I end every episode with a chunk about happiness and the science of it and things that I've learned, tips that I've picked up, things I'm thinking about. I love that topic, and so I like to muse on that. But this week, there's something special on both the Substack and the Patreon, Substack and Patreon. I posted the live version of the Mismatch game show that we did last weekend at the Gay and Lesbian Center in Los Angeles. We've been doing it for 21 years, but this was a very special show. Happy Blanksgiving was the theme, and Bruce Valanche appeared for the very first time. So anyway, it's on both my Patreon and my Substack for free. Anyone can watch it. So you can go check that out. If you've always wondered, what's the Mismatch game like? You can do that. It's a really fun show. Jim Colucci, Frank DeCaro's husband. Frank was in the cast. Jim recorded the whole thing on his phone. So I was like, hey, let's post that on Patreon and Substack and let people enjoy it. So go to Patreon or Substack and search for Dennis Hensley's Happy and Gay, and you'll be able to watch the Mismatch game. And then you might also stick around and subscribe for 5 months. Or $5. Don't do it for 5 months. Do it for 1,000,000 months. You can subscribe for $5, and I drop an episode every week. Dennis Hensley's Happy and Gay. And I appreciate it. The other thing is I'm putting out this party game called Search Party. We got the prototype back a little while ago, and it looks so cute, you guys. So we're taking pre-orders now to cover the printing, and we appreciate anyone that pre-orders it in advance. And you can do that at youdon'tknowmylife.com/searchparty. It's $25 for one, includes shipping, and then there's discounts if you get more than one. So very excited about that. It looks so good, you guys, and it's going to be really fun. So there you go. What else? Oh, become a subscriber to DNR Studios. I'm part of a group of shows, big fun queer shows under the Derek and Romade podcast banner. And if you subscribe, you get my show early than you normally would. And you get all these other queer shows. So check that out at dnrstudios.com. All right, enough of the plugs. Here now is my interview with Maria Friedman. Joining me now from London, it's Maria Friedman. She directed the Broadway musical Merrily We Roll Along, which is now a film that's opening in theaters nationwide on December 5th. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, great to be here.
I am so excited this is happening. I am a big fan of Sondheim and musicals. Merrily is my favorite because it's about friendship, which is my thing, and creative people and ambition. And I know you have a long history with this piece. I know you've acted in it. When you were setting out to do this incarnation, what were you thinking about? Because I think this one is fresh in a way, and certainly was better received than the original. So what was on your mind when you were like, okay, let's do this now again?
Well, interestingly, it was the very first thing I'd ever directed. Since then, obviously, I've done quite a bit, but it was the very first thing. And I was in between jobs as an actress, and I got asked whether I'd like to direct something at a drama school, which is called Central School of Speech and Drama. And I think we're duty bound to try as many different things as get put in our way. I'm definitely somebody who loves to explore.
Right.
I said to my husband, I don't know, do you think I could direct? He said, definitely. And I had no idea what to do. And he said, you were in Merrily, I was in Merrily. You know Merrily really well. Why don't you do that? Because it's about young people and you can use the students in a really good way. And it was a most fantastic, fortuitous thing, because having worked with these wonderful performers in a drama school, I realized you couldn't do Merrily We Roll Along with young people, because the first act, we meet them, as anybody who doesn't know, Merrily goes backwards. So we meet these people in their 40s, having made several wrong turns in their life. And so I really believe profoundly, as an actor or as a director or anything, you mustn't lie to your audience. And if you're putting on a show about 20-year-olds pretending to be 40-year-olds, double divorcees, alcoholics, lawyers, successful career people, for the first half of the show, you're asking people to suspend disbelief. And I don't think that's the way that you can engage in people. So it was my brilliant, fortuitous way of discovering the piece needed older actors.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I found out.
Because I've seen it in other incarnations with younger actors, and they kind of age them up. And it's never landed like this. So I think,
It feels like they're doing dress up. It feels like they're wearing shoes, pretend.
When I was in high school, my first role, I was in 10 Little Indians, and the woman that played my wife was a senior and I was a freshman, and it literally looked like she was my mom. It was weirdest. But anyway, that's a sidebar, but it's that same vibe.
Weird. Psychological damage for the rest of your life.
The piece ends with this beautiful song, Our Time, sung by the younger versions of all the characters on a rooftop. I sobbed through the whole thing in the screening room, and I'm trying to think about why. I mean, I was shaking the row. And I think this is where I landed, and see if this resonates with you. To me, it was a tragedy, like a Shakespearean tragedy. And Franklin Shepard is a tragic hero. And his tragic flaw is that line in the piece where he says, I always say yes when I mean to say no.
I should have said no.
And here's the thing. He's so charismatic. He's so talented. He's so intelligent. He's so beautiful. He's so Jonathan Groff that everything just kind of comes to him, and he never has to decide what he actually wants.
Right. He doesn't know himself. But you see, I go back. First of all, I'm so pleased the film resonated with you, because it is powerful. I
was a mess.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, everyone is saying that. I mean, but as well as laughing all the way through and singing along all the way through, suddenly you're undone. Yeah. You're undone, because we all know when we get to it's very interesting how the piece will resonate with you depending on which age you are. Certain bits of it will resonate with you. I've been living with this since I was in my early 30s.
Right.
And now I'm, in my mid 60s. It has a different hit every time, and I'm not just saying this in a kind of floppy way.
Yeah.
Every time I see this show, giving it a couple of years or months, something's happened in my life where I suddenly see something new. It never stops communicating to you at the point of life you're in, as not as a kind of, this is what you need to do, but just a gentle reminder that we are responsible for the way we behave to one another. And we all are going to make mistakes, but it's never too late to recalibrate and take a step forward into new possibilities. And you're completely right about Frank being this beautiful soul. And if you investigate the script, and I hope you see this film many, many times, because it takes rewatching. It's that complex. That what you realize is that he wasn't loved properly. We never hear about his parents. We hear about everybody else's parents in the show.
Yeah.
Apart from Gussie and him, these are two sort of alone souls who have never been taught the importance of understanding that they are loved. They are loved in a really, in a way that grounds them, that roots them. So he's like a wonderful, beautiful petal that's flying through the wind that is, as you say, charismatic and able and so talented. But he really doesn't recognize the responsibility of that talent. He doesn't recognize that he is somebody people are going to want to be near. So he's like a flame. Moths go to him because he's alive. He's living life where other people don't dare. Mary doesn't dare. Charlie doesn't dare. None of them dare. He just is.
Yeah.
He's just so he's not guilty. He's not a guilty. And but I really hope that, as well as it being a sort of reminder to call your best friends and those people you've forgotten to call, that it's never too late. Pick up the phone. That's what a lot of people are doing.
Yeah.
But equally, if you have messed up, as long as you understand which part of it is yours, you may not be able to right that wrong,
right?
But you can make sure you don't do it again.
Yeah.
And you can walk out into the world.
Yeah.
And be okay. You can be okay.
There's one point, there's a line that jumped out at me this last time I watched it where young Charlie says, if I didn't have music, I would die. Because he was a composer. He was a brilliant composer. At the end of the movie, you can't get him to sit at the piano. Like, it's gone. What happened to that love of the creative thing?
Why doesn't everybody watch films the way you do?
That's my pull quote.
Happy.
No, these are my themes.
How happy I am.
These are my themes.
He dies.
He realizes it. But you show it in close-ups of Jonathan, which I'm not mad at. Can I tell you something silly? When they send you screeners for these kind of things, they put your name in type on it so you don't pirate it. And every time my name would appear on Jonathan, I would be like, oh, we're destined to be together. That's a side note. Anyway. You
and the rest of the world.
Exactly. He is really good at being an asshole, but he is, by all accounts and everything you see, like the son, like the most generous, good person, but he can go there. How did you and Jonathan talk about the character? What were your conversations like? Because when he goes there, it's dark.
Yeah. I'm very happy, and I'm sure you'll be talking to him later. We went there, but one of the things about being an actor or a director, we have secrets.
Yeah.
It's really important to maintain those, because I will whisper like a whisperer in his ear various things that just remind us we contain multitudes.
Yeah.
We choose. He doesn't have a choice in terms of the fact that he was born.
Yeah.
Beautiful and an angel and is a genuinely good man. But none of us are without dark sides. And, we hope that life doesn't push us into a place where those are the ones that we call on.
Yeah.
And so we talked a lot about Frank's situation, not Jonathan's, Frank's situation, where in that very first scene that we see him with the red book, which is his music, which is his soul, which is Charlie, which is friendship, which is music. When we see that, I talked to him about the fact that this is as you know, it goes backwards, but this is the scene after that horrific party that nobody wants to go to.
Yeah.
And he has a few choices. His wife is probably going to prison. There's been a girl that's had this catastrophe happen with the eyes. I don't want to give too much away. I want you to see it. But what happens is that he doesn't have many choices, and he's sort of the very first scene. He's almost dead. He's died.
Yeah.
There's a part that has died. He's indifferent to everything. Nothing is moving him. Nothing is getting to him.
Yeah.
He's lost that bit. So the corollary of that is that what would he do on that rooftop at that point in his life? There are two options.
Right.
And we need to really walk carefully and think carefully about those two options. And we spoke a lot about that, is to going into that dark space to begin with in order to find the light. Because, the musical sets out to really shock you and alienate you at the beginning. The movie is, at the beginning, you're like, who are these people? What is, the fast cuts, the sharp, very in your face kind of edgy edit that the brilliant Spencer Averick and I came up with was to do with sort of alienating you, so you're uncomfortable, you can't quite sit. you think, what is this? I thought this was a musical. And then you're actually forced into some really difficult situations in the first 5 minutes with these people who've come to the end of the line. Things have to shift at this point. And then he goes through this kind of breakdown where the film becomes a memory play of which bits of him is culpable, where he sees himself clearly in the eyes of other people through this, with the brilliant questioning of our cast who say, how did you get to be here? Which is inviting the audience to come in to ask themselves those questions.
Right.
I often think, how did Maria Friedman get to sit with you?
Right.
Doing this, I'm in Hackney, you're in wherever. How did we get to be here?
Yeah.
How did we get to be here? This question keeps on arriving. And I don't know how many times in your life you say it. I say it all the time. Yeah. How on earth did I get to be here? In the good times and the bad times. Yeah. It wasn't my script. This is not the script I planned. And then you get the glorious moments. You think, oh, good, I'm starting to rewrite my script the way I want it.
Right.
So those wonderful questions allow the audience to come and on that journey and identify with little bits of all these people that you're going to see. Because the film, when you watch it, guys, I hope you love it, but it's about collecting moments, and eventually you have a full basket in order to see the whole of which you are part of it.
Yeah.
You are part of those decisions. And I've adored the screenings. We've had people saying, oh, you made it all about Mary. Oh, you made it all about Charlie. Oh, you made it all about Frank. It depends on where you are. Or, well done, you made it about all of you.
Right.
Or, oh, God, you were speaking about me.
Yeah.
It's all those moments that you are going to gather.
Yeah. I want to talk about Daniel Radcliffe. There's a song that he sings called Franklin Shepherd Inc. And when I was studying musical theater, that was the show-off song. That was the song that guys would do because you sing fast and you do the thing or whatever. And it was about technique and, oh, they're good at that Sondheim thing. With Daniel, it's just like a primal scream. It is so visceral. It's not about the technique. It's not about the song or the voices. He is so hurt that it's like devastating. Talk to me about Daniel and his performance. He's kind of like this little powder keg that just kind of keeps it together and then just lets it out. So talk about him.
Correct. Well, him, first of all, as the character, he's lost his best friend.
Yeah.
It's been 15 years of promises about writing this piece, and he's being lied to and he's been humiliated. Interestingly, it's a duet in my eyes. It's a duet. It's a love song. It's a love song to Frank.
Wow.
Gets out of control. That's how I've staged and talked about it. It's a yearning for lost moment of friendship where he goes, we're not that close anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that's absolutely heartbreaking, right? We're not that close anymore. And they once upon a time made plans to be with each other, write with each other forever and ever, amen.
Right.
And it goes wrong. But also along with that, you've got the fact that actually Frank never promised him anything.
Right.
And he could have written this Pulitzer Prize winning play years ago. The truth is, without Frank, he would never, ever, ever have got that Pulitzer Prize winning play off the ground because they've already had 2 massive hits.
Right.
The doors have been opened. He knows everybody in the industry.
Right.
Otherwise, he would be this sweet little guy who wrote a play, kind of political play, nobody would have even looked at. So no one ever says thank you to Frank. No one.
Right.
They just blame him for what he didn't do.
Right.
So I think Daniel is a remarkable actor. I think he honed every inch of Charlie. I think he is, I'll tell you, I think with Daniel, he reminds me of the great clowns, of the Charlie Chaplins, Buster Keatons. He's got tears and laughter equally in this beautiful way that he judges pathos without sentimentality, wit, humour, love, and then a kind of playful clowning. I think he's a tremendous actor. And I'm so grateful to all my cast for, Lindsay's portrayal, Charlie's, Daniel's, Jonathan's. You walk into a room with actors like that who are ready to play. And my job is bliss.
Yeah.
It's bliss.
You mentioned the party scene at the beginning. That's kind of a mess. He's rich now. He's a Hollywood producer. There's all these shallow, awful people, cocaine running around. One of my favorite writers is a gentleman named Anand Giridharadas, and he wrote an article yesterday in the New York Times where he went through the Epstein emails and he wrote about how rich people, elite people talk to each other and how they are. It wasn't really about those specific allegations or whatever. It's just the vibe of this group. And I was thinking of that last night when I was watching these people, like, they're so different than the rest of us. Like, what happens to people? I guess
fear.
What's going on with them? Like
fear and greed.
Yeah.
Fear and greed. I've been obsessing about this, about we all think we're civilized, and very quickly particularly now with all the kind of, anti-immigration and everyone pointing to the other, and ultimately we can only be civilized when we're warm, fed, and fear isn't knocking on our door.
Yeah.
And I think, take all that away from us and we turn. We are no more than the junk. I mean, we turn, we watch it, we see it happening. Right. I think those elite groups, they want to keep the doors really firmly shut.
Yeah.
And you can become a member only if you're prepared to close the doors to other people. I think it's about clubs, isn't it? We're tribal. We find our club. Hopefully my club is about thinking and thoughts and ideas, but I'm only allowed that because I can feed myself.
Yeah.
I've got time to have those wonderful, musing. I can spend a day thinking about how I'm going to position somebody on a stage. I mean, that comes with a certain amount of, safety in my life.
I'm so glad that resonated with you. This was wonderful. Just one final thought. I know you were friends with Stephen Sondheim. What would he make of this moment with this musical and now a movie?
So there's a line in the show which says, musicals are popular. They're a great way of stating important ideas that can make a difference. His dream was to have his shows put on and seen by as many people in the world because he did have great universal ideas that can make a difference, that can make the world a little bit better. And therefore, this film being made by Sony, the brilliant Michael Barker, who said, I love it, and it's going to be in tiny little corners all over the world, he would be thrilled. He'd be thrilled. And I did it for him, and I miss him every day. But while I was making this film, he was with me on my shoulder, making me push hard to get the results we got. And I miss him. I love him, and I think he would be made up. We'd be having a little vodka together later on.
I love it. Thank you. What a wonderful note to end on. Thank you for this. I really appreciate the conversation.
Thank you, Dennis.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks again to Maria Friedman. I'm so glad that interview happened. Go see Merrily We Roll Along in theaters December 5th. I think if you put Jonathan Groff on your dream board enough, something like this can happen. That's the moral of the story. So this happened. What happened in my life? So it was Thanksgiving week. I had a lovely Thanksgiving dinner with some friends that I often spend Thanksgiving with. It was smaller scale than oftentimes, and it was lovely. Loved it. I was into it. And the night before Thanksgiving, I was able to score a pretty cheap ticket to the musical Suffs, which is showing at the Pantages in Hollywood. And I'd been wanting to see it. I'd been hearing good things about it, and it really knocked my socks off. I went by myself, and I just enjoyed the hell out of it. It's about the suffrage movement for women in America, and you learn. It's fun because it's fun to learn the history of how things were unfolding, the different approaches that people had to trying to make this happen. The whole cast is women. Even the men are played by women. I think it's President Wilson who's largely in the story and played by a woman. And there's something so lovely about the voices blending in this musical. The way when they sing together, it's just like oh my God, it's like champagne. It's just like delicious. It's so beautiful. But the story is it's not sort of dry and historical. It's very lively. The characters pop. There's a really interesting parallel today, which is like, how do we make change happen? Do we play nice and try to have tea with the people and endear ourselves to them and wait till it's the right time? Or do we raise hell and protest and hang out in front of the White House for weeks on end? Do we go on hunger strikes? Do we get arrested? Like, how does change happen? And the characters that emerge through this are very inspiring and specific, and the actors are wonderful and highly recommended. So if you are in a city where Suffs is going to play, go check it out. I really, really enjoyed it. All right, that's enough for this week. I want to give a shout out to Oscar Rosario for mixing the episodes. My theme music is by Mark Daniels for Placement Music. We'll catch you next time on Dennis Anyone. Bye!